Hello everyone! My name is Regan and I'm a photographer living in Oklahoma City. I ran into this problem a lot when I was first beginning, and I get the same question really frequently from other people who are getting into photography, and it's how the heck do you get that blurry background in your photos? So today I'm gonna really break it down and show you the easy way to get the blurry background, and then also 2 to 3 factors that will affect how blurry it is. Let's go. Okay, here's the quick and dirty. If you are a beginning photographer and you just bought your first kind of fancier camera, you're probably using the lens that came on it. This is called a kit lens. And to be honest, you're being held back because it's really hard to get a blurry background with this lens. What you need to do is purchase a new lens. Ugh, I know, not fun, but this is going to be the quickest way for you to get the blurry background in your photos. What I recommend getting is something called a Nifty-Fifty. This is a 50mm lens with a low f-stop, usually 50mm f1.8, and that f measurement is what allows you to get the blurry background. Below in the description, I will link some common Nifty-Fifties for each camera brand, but before you even continue, just go get one of those. If you already have a lens that can go to a low f-stop, like f1.8, f2.8, something like that, then keep watching. The first thing that will affect how blurry your background is your f-stop. This is also called your aperture. If you think of your camera lens like an eye, then f-stop and aperture would be how open or closed your pupil is. The lower the number, the blurrier the background will be. This is why I suggest getting a Nifty-Fifty, because it can go all the way down to f1.8. So on your camera, if you dial your aperture down to 1.8 or something lower than that, you're gonna get a really blurry background like this. If you pump your aperture up to something like f.4, the background's a little less blurry. If you keep going up even higher to something like f11, less blurry. Even higher, f22, practically no blur on the background. So this is really the biggest contributor to how blurry your pictures are gonna be, is the f-stop. The next thing you're gonna wanna look at is the focal length of the lens. Now you'll know this when you're looking at the lens description, because this is what comes before the mm or millimeter. Oh my god, that means millimeter. Got it. So right now I'm shooting on a 35mm. That is the focal length of my lens, or basically like how zoomy it is. And the f, or aperture, is how blurry you can get the background and how much light you can let in to the eye of your camera. Here is a 16mm photo with the aperture at 1.8. And here is an 85mm photo, also with the aperture at 1.8. You can see that the 85mm, despite having the exact same settings, has a blurrier background. So this is something to keep in mind. The longer or more zoomy that your lens is for the focal length, the more natural background blur you'll have. Finally, the last thing that is going to affect how blurry your background is the distance from your subject, which is me today, to the camera, and at the same time, the distance of the subject to the background. I'll show you what that means, because all of this is very conceptual until I give you some examples. Okay, we're in my home studio right now. There's nothing in here, so it's really echoey. I want to show you this principle. So you can see there is a room behind me. That's our dining room. But as I get closer to the camera, let's get it to focus, the background is really blurry. I'm closer to the camera, like 2 feet away, than I am to the background. So it's super blurry. Now let me walk backwards. Now I'm about halfway between the camera and the background. You'll notice the background is a little less blurry, but my camera settings haven't changed at all. Okay, hopefully it still focuses. Okay, now I am basically up against the background. My super messy dining room is here, and I am much farther from the camera. And look, the background is much more in focus. There's some like complicated technical stuff with this, but just know that the closer your subject is to the camera and farther from the background, the blurrier your background will be. Okay, that's it for today. The short of it, the short of it is, if you are a beginner and you're using the lens that came on your camera, just go and purchase a Nifty-Fifty and you're already gonna have more capabilities to shoot a blurry background. From there, you need to take your aperture low to something like 2.8 or 1.8 to get the blurriest background possible for your lens. Then you need to understand that the focal length or the zoominess of your lens has an effect as well. Longer focal lengths equal blurrier backgrounds. And finally, this is the one that took so long for me to learn. The closer your subject is to the camera, the blurrier your background will be. Okay? That's it. That's all for today. If you guys want more tips about how to make photography less complicated and more fun, make sure to subscribe and leave me a comment for what you want to learn. If you're all about the Wanderlust, I also have a shop where I sell prints from my travel. Check it out here, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!